Tonight, your brain will perform an illusion so convincing that you may never question it. It will shut out the room around you, steal fragments from your memories, invent places that have never existed, and place you directly inside the result. You may run without moving your legs. You may speak to someone you lost years ago. You may feel fear, love, embarrassment, or grief over events that never happened. And while all of this is happening, you will rarely stop to ask the most obvious question. How did I get here? Because the same brain creating the impossible world is also deciding that it makes sense. Then morning arrives. Your eyes open, and within seconds, the people, places, and emotions that felt completely real begin slipping away. So why does your brain create dreams? Why do they feel real while they are happening? And why does the brain build an entire reality at night, only to erase most of it before breakfast? Right now, your waking brain is receiving a constant stream of information. Light enters your eyes. Sound reaches your ears. Your skin detects pressure, temperature, and movement. The brain combines those signals into the stable world you believe you are standing inside. But during sleep, much of that external information loses its influence. Your eyes are closed. The room is dark. Your body is mostly still. And yet somehow, a world appears. You see faces. You hear voices. You move through buildings, roads, forests, or cities. Sometimes you even experience touch, pain, taste, or the sensation of falling. The brain is no longer building reality mainly from the world outside. It is generating experience from activity inside itself. Dreaming was once treated almost as another name for REM sleep. But researchers now know that dream experiences can occur during both REM and non-REM sleep. In one study, scientists repeatedly awakened sleepers and compared occasions when they reported a dream with occasions when they reported no experience at all. Across both REM and non-REM sleep, dreaming was linked to a reduction in slow activity within a region near the back of the cortex. Higher frequency activity in this posterior area also reflected parts of the reported dream content. The researchers could even use this activity to predict whether a sleeping person was likely experiencing a dream. But producing images is only the beginning. The stranger achievement is convincing you that you are standing inside them. A dream does not normally feel like watching a film. You do not sit outside the scene and observe it from a safe distance. You are inside it. You have a body. You make decisions. You react to danger. You recognize people, even when their faces are wrong. And the emotions can be brutally real. A person who died years ago can appear in front of you. For a moment, you may not remember that they are gone. You speak to them. You hear their voice. You may even feel the relief of having them back. Then you wake up and lose them a second time. The event was imaginary, but the emotion was not. Your sleeping brain contains many of the same systems that help construct conscious experience while you are awake. Memory-related, self-referential, visual, and emotional networks can remain active, while some executive regions involved in monitoring logic and self-awareness become less engaged, particularly during REM sleep. So the brain does not need the outside world to create the feeling of reality. It needs enough activity arranged in the right pattern. But where does the brain find the people, places, and stories it uses? It rarely invents them from nothing. It steals the pieces from you. Every dream may feel new, but its ingredients often are not. A familiar face, an old house, a recent argument, a childhood fear, a person you saw for 3 seconds in a shop, a feeling you could not explain during the day. The sleeping brain can pull these fragments from completely different moments, and combine them into one new experience. Your school becomes your workplace. Your childhood friend speaks with your manager's voice. A room from 10 years ago opens onto a street you visited yesterday. The pieces belong to your life. The story does not. In one study, participants recorded their waking experiences and dreams for 2 weeks. More than 80% of their dreams contained features connected to autobiographical memory. But only one dream in the study qualified as a true replay of a complete episodic memory. Dreams were not playing life back like recorded video. They were breaking it apart and rebuilding it. Newer experimental work also shows that material encountered before sleep can reappear in later dreams during both REM and non-REM sleep, although it may return in distorted or indirect forms. Your dream may contain pieces of your life, without recreating any moment exactly as it happened. But memory fragments explain where the dream comes from. They do not explain why impossible things feel completely normal. You are standing inside your home. You open one door, and suddenly you are in another country. No journey, no airport, no explanation. A person changes identity halfway through a conversation. A building becomes an ocean. You breathe underwater. You discover that you can fly. And instead of stopping to say, "This is impossible," you continue with the dream. The brain generating the contradiction is also the brain responsible for detecting it. During waking life, executive systems help test reality. They compare events with memory. They track how you arrived somewhere. They notice when a person changes face. They ask whether a story makes sense. During ordinary dreaming, especially vivid REM dreaming, some of the frontal systems associated with cognitive control, insight, and self-monitoring appear less engaged than during normal wakefulness. At the same time, emotional and internally generated sensory experiences can remain powerful. The result is a strange imbalance. The part of the brain producing the experience is active. The part that normally interrupts and says, "Wait, this cannot be real," may be less effective. So the dream keeps moving. One impossible moment explains another, and the sleeping mind rarely demands proof. Unless you become lucid. In a lucid dream, some degree of self-awareness returns. You realize the world around you is being generated inside your own brain. For a moment, the illusion notices itself. But this leads to the hardest question of all. Why does the brain create the illusion in the first place? Scientists do not currently have one proven answer. There are several serious possibilities. Dreams may reflect memory processing as the sleeping brain reactivates and reorganizes recent experience. They may allow emotional events to be combined with older memories in new ways. They may simulate threatening or socially difficult situations. They may encourage unusual associations that would be rejected by the more controlled waking mind. Or dreams may partly be the story your brain constructs while trying to interpret activity already occurring during sleep. These ideas are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Different dreams may emerge from different processes. A meta-analysis found that dreaming about a recently learned task was associated with better memory performance afterward, particularly for dreams collected from non-REM sleep. But association is not proof that the conscious dream itself performs the memory work. The dream may be part of the process, or it may simply be the experience produced while deeper memory systems are working. Studies connecting dreams with emotional processing also produce mixed results. Some find relationships between dream emotion and later memory, but the evidence does not support a simple claim that dreaming automatically heals emotional pain or removes fear. Scientists know far more about when dreaming happens than why the brain creates it. And even after your brain spends the night building an entire world, it often destroys the evidence within seconds. You wake from a vivid dream. For one brief moment, everything is still there. The room, the faces, the storyline, the emotion. You reach for the memory, and it begins collapsing. First, you lose the order of events. Then, the location disappears. A face remains, but you cannot identify it. Finally, Only the emotion survives. You know something happened. You just cannot retrieve what it was. Dream recall depends on more than whether dreaming occurred. The sleep stage, the brain's activity before awakening, the way a person wakes, attention, motivation, and individual differences can all influence whether the experience becomes available to waking memory. Specific patterns of cortical activity before awakening have been associated with successful dream recall after both REM and non-REM sleep. A dream can exist as an experience during sleep, yet fail to become a stable memory after waking. Sometimes you did not sleep without dreaming. Your waking brain simply returned without bringing the dream with it. Every night, your brain disconnects from one reality and quietly constructs another. It borrows faces from your past, emotions from your present, fears about your future. It breaks memories into pieces, rearranges them, surrounds them with sensation, and places you inside the result. And until you wake up, you rarely question whether any of it is real. Then the world disappears. The person you loved is gone. The danger never happened. The impossible city collapses. And your waking brain returns to the reality waiting outside your eyes. But dreams are not always strange, beautiful, or harmless. Sometimes the world your brain creates becomes darker. Sometimes fear takes control of the story. And sometimes you wake with your heart racing, even though nothing in the room has moved. In the next episode, we enter the nightmare and ask why a sleeping brain deliberately creates something terrifying.